Greg Huff here on the shores of Lake Douglas with Mike Cole, who is the owner of Pure Poison Jigs, and his top pro staffer, Travis McFalls. Guys, nice to meet you. Thanks for taking me out today. So obviously we've got the Bassmaster tour coming here in a couple of weeks, and we're going to kind of go out and scout it out. You guys are going to give me a good look at the lake, and I'm going to use that information to try to figure out the best fantasy fishing team that we could put together, and I'll put that in my column for Bassmaster.com. So just tell me a little bit about this lake and how it's likely to fish when the Elite Series event launches here, and then tell me a little bit about Pure Poison Jigs and how you fish them here.
This year is going to be different from last year, especially the weather and the kind of year we've had. We had a mild winter. As you can see, the lake isn't really up yet. The spawn is pretty much over on this end of the lake. There's still a few bedding fish in the river. That'll be over by the time the Elite Series guys get here. This lake is a deep lake. It's got a lot of long points. It's got a lot of ledges. There's going to be a lot of dragging going on. There's going to be a lot of crankbaiting. It's going to be about transition fish. Those people who are able to find those fish that are coming out of the shallows and going back deep, find them quickly and figure out what they want to eat. Probably going to be a football head. That'll be a factor, a big crankbait. There'll be some guys throwing the Carolina rigs and some of the other stuff, you know, those search baits. But it's really going to be a matter of who finds the transition fish first, and then who can stay with them over the course of the tournament. And this lake, like a lot of East Tennessee lakes, is very fickle when it comes to the weather. The pattern can change overnight on you. As you can see this morning, we're in the 40s. You know, by the time these guys get here, it'll probably be 20, 25 degrees warmer. And that's all going to play in. So it's going to really test the anglers, and it's going to test the guys who are versatile. I think the guys who are the most versatile, those will be the guys you'll see in the top.
Now, we haven't launched yet. We haven't seen a whole lot of the lake, but just from what we could see driving in and here, doesn't look like there's a whole lot of flooded brush. Is the lake likely to go up anymore? Are there other places where there's some flooded brush? Is there going to be a flip and bite like that, or is it mostly going to be that offshore stuff?
There's going to be a flip and bite. There's brush out there, you just can't see it right now. The anglers who locate those pockets of submerged brush and who locate those fish that are in that transition zone with the timber in it, they're going to catch fish. There's going to flipping will definitely be a factor, I believe.
I'm Joe Cummings from EastTennesseeFishing.com here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Honestly, I think that this tournament's going to be won from the 20 to 25 foot range in water. I don't think there'll be a lot of fish caught shallow. There will be fish caught. There are certain people that fish shallow, that's all they do. I think they'll fish, you know, 5 to 15 feet of water and they'll catch fish. But I think the big fish are going to be caught on different humps, different points, 20 to 25 feet of water on deep diving cranks. There's a couple of spots down the lake. I think that the swim bait's going to come in key. They could be throwing the spoon, jigging a spoon down there. The spoon bite usually picks up a month from now, but this year is so different because it's been unseasonably warm here all winter. So the spawn was early, the pre-spawn was early. So I think the spoon bite may be a month early this year too. And it's all going to play key on these spots. When you find them, and you find the fish on any of these spots, I think the deep diving crank, the spoon, and the swim bait are going to win this tournament.
Travis, you've done a lot of fishing around here as well. You've done some fishing on the collegiate tour circuits, and you know guys like Ott Defoe, who's got to be a favorite in this tournament, along with a guy like David Walker. Both those guys live in the area. What's going to give those guys the leg up as far as, you know, knowing the lake, and what have you seen out here that you know that they know where it is too? Well,
they see this place in the wintertime, and they know what's out there. You know, they know what's worth fishing, what's worth looking at, and what's not, and you know, they just can cover a lot of water a whole lot quicker. And they know, hey, it's not, you know, it's worthless not to, you know, go waste time on something that doesn't have anything on it, because like Mike was saying, this is going to be one offshore probably. You know, most likely it's going to be one offshore is what I believe. You know, there will be some guys that are flipping and catching some good fish, but I think to get the 5 bites a day that you're going to need, you're going to have to go out a little bit deeper. And those guys are going to know those hard places, those brush piles, you know, those kind of places, the places where the fish really come off the bed and stage, you know, to get ready to go into their, you know, summer pattern. And I think that's really going to be key. I think a swim bait, and you know, and Ott, he's a real good swim bait fisherman. Most people don't know it, but around, you know, that's what he does some of the best. And you know, he's got a lot of history on this lake. He grew up, you know, not 10 miles from this lake,
right,
or you know, 15, and he's got a really good history on it. Like last year, he finished in the top 10. So I think both of those guys will play a key factor on it. It'll just be an execution thing for those guys, as you know, because they'll probably be able to find the fish, no problem.
I own and operate Smokies Angling Adventures Guide Service at smokiesangling.com. We have the Bassmaster Elite Series coming to Douglas next week, and the shallow water bite, you can catch a lot. You know, there's probably going to be a lot of fish caught shallow, but I think the winning pattern is probably going to be fishing offshore structure, throwing, you know, the deep crankbaits, swim baits, that type of tactic. We're looking for these bass on deep structure, out of the spawning areas, the first breaks and drops, the deeper water. We're going to be working swim bait patterns, crankbaits, maybe some football jigs, jigging spoons. What we're actually trying to find is some of these bigger schools of bass that are actually on the balls of shad out here today. And we're going to be working some general areas, mid-lake to upriver a little bit. We've actually had, you know, a lot warmer than normal temperatures. The lake's a little bit low right now. You don't have a lot of shallow brush and stuff in the lake. And a lot of the fish have spawned early this year. And, you know, they're moving more offshore every day. And the bite seems to be right now, you know, mainly in the 15-foot to 30-foot range. I think that's probably, you know, where the bigger bags of fish are going to come from. There are going to be a lot of fish caught shallow, but I think, you know, the winning bags are going to come out of the deep water, offshore structure, on the big crankbaits and so forth. I think there'll be a spinnerbait bite. There'll also be a jig pattern, because there are some decent fish that can be caught on a jig right now, on the breaks and stuff in the shallower water. Carolina rigs, you probably catch fish on them all day long, but I think they're going to be more of the 1 to 3 pound class fish with an occasional big fish, unless you just hit the right group of fish. Okay, what I think the winning pattern is really going to be is getting offshore, finding those big balls of shad and working them, trying to get those big bass keyed in. If you can get them triggered, it doesn't take long to put a good bag of fish in the boat. To actually win the way the bite's been going this past week, I think you're still going to see the winner's probably going to have bags in the 17, 18 pound range, probably, at least the first couple of days. It may go down a little bit from there, but I think it's going to take an average of 17 pounds a day probably to win this thing. Like I said, it may drop off a little bit there at the last day, but there's a lot of good fish out here to be caught, and somebody's going to get on the right fish.
Tell me a little bit more about your Pure Poison baits and what you offer and what kind of baits that we're going to have tied on today.
Okay, well, we were founded in 2006. You're looking at the founder and the production manager and the guy that sweeps the floor too.
Right.
Travis is my right-hand man and my shop assistant, and we offer a wide line of different jig products and soft hand-poured plastics. And we'll be throwing the Triple Threat Signature Series umbrella rig a little bit today. Even though it's not legal on the Elite Series, that doesn't mean I can't throw it.
That's right.
We're gonna throw it today. Our best bait on this lake is what we call our smash mouth football jig. We'll probably be throwing somewhere 3/4 or ½ ounce. We've brought some of our old standby colors, which always produce well in this lake, like Smoky Mountain Crawl and Dinner Bell. That's 2 of our more popular colors.
Awesome.
And we brought one of my infamous colors. It's kind of a pro staff only color. We call it Monkey Puke. so we'll be throwing Monkey Puke today. We're also going to be throwing some crankbaits, some that we've airbrushed ourselves, which is something that Pure Poison's working on. Really started out as a hobby and a way to pay entry fees for bass tournaments.
Right.
And it just kind of grew by word of mouth from there. And then over the years, we started to acquire some pro clientele, and people realized we make a good bait. And while we don't do a lot of quantity, but we do quality.
Right.
So we're going to let you put some of our best stuff through our paces. We got some rattling plastics we're going to be using today. We'll probably bring, before this day's over, we'll probably bring everything out of the arsenal.
Right. Excellent.
But you know, as the business grew and you know, we started becoming exposed in Bassmaster and Bass.com.
Yeah.
And over the last couple of years, the business has really taken off. Warhead Jig was featured in Bassmaster magazine.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a watershed moment. Mark Hicks initially wrote an article about us, about our football heads here prior to the Southern Open last year. Our football heads did very well on that tournament.
Yeah.
And then when the Warhead was featured in Bassmaster, that was really just for us a watershed moment in terms of the company's growth. We're now national. We're sending stuff all over America, over the internet. We have a few brick and mortar stores here in Tennessee and North Carolina that do carry our products, and we're seeing interest from all over the country now, from folks writing us letters and brick and mortar type stores. But we're primarily a web-based business.
Yeah.
We don't make a ton of them. We make every one of them one at a time, made by hand. That's our trademark.
What's the website?
PurePoisonJigs.com.
You've read about them, you've heard about them. Let's go get an up close look at them. Let's fish 'em.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right, man.